Over the last couple of days, you might have been noticing an uptick in some of that static electricity. But there's going to be a reason as to why, and it's going to come down to the water content within our atmosphere. Water is going to be very conductive, almost like metal, where it's going to have an easier time allowing electricity or the flow of electrons to pass through it. So if we're going to have more of a humid atmosphere, there's going to be a lot more of those water molecules. And we take our electrons and the flow of those that make up electricity, it's going to give them a lot of options to be able to dissipate, to either go back out into the atmosphere or go to nearby surfaces. So it's going to have an easier time making its way and not building up to cause such a charge. But let's flip it and have it be like the last couple of days where it's been relatively dry. We're going to notice there's not nearly as many water molecules out within the atmosphere, so it's going to make it more difficult for that electricity to pass between the molecules and also find a good path to be able to dissipate and safely disperse that charge across a surface or to another surface as well. So let's talk about another way we can think about it, is that during a humid environment, those water molecules can act like a bridge. Therefore, that electricity is going to use that water as a bridge to cross to another surface safely. But if we take away the bridge or start to go into a dry environment, again, that electrical current is going to store up and charge up on one specific surface. So let's say you're unfortunate enough to go and touch a doorknob. It's going to go give you that zap. You might even feel a little bit of a zap to yourself as well. Every month is going to have their own full moon, and now that we're in November, we're approaching this month's full moon, and it's going to be a little special because it's also going to be a supermoon. And when people think about the moon, some might think that it's going to be on a circular orbit around the Earth, but that's not true. It's going to be known as something as an elliptical orbit, and it's also not going to be centered with Earth as well. And as we head towards this full moon, it's going to be the closest passing towards Earth, known as the perigee. And this is why it's going to be a supermoon, because as it makes this closest approach, it's going to appear bigger in the night sky, but it's also going to be brighter as well. But what about in the opposite? What if it's going to be all the way over there, the farthest point away from Earth in its orbit? Well, that's going to be known as the apogee. So that moon is going to appear smaller and a little bit dimmer as well. But when should we be expecting the peak of this full moon, and what's the story behind it? Well, this full moon will actually be peaking tomorrow morning, right around 8:14 a.m. And this is also going to be known as the beaver moon. And this is because during November, this was the prime time to get some of those beavers and use their fur to be able to trade for the upcoming winter months to help stay warm. So if you happen to be up around that time and you might be able to see the moon, that's going to be the peak of our supermoon. It's also going to be the biggest and brightest of this year. But besides that, everything's pretty calm here in Middle Georgia, especially tomorrow. During the morning, a little bit chilly, seeing those temperatures starting out in those low 40s. As you're out at that bus stop, might be a little bit warmer right at 47, but we'll warm up pretty quickly, getting into those mid to maybe even those upper 70s for some spots. So those warm 70s might not be over just quite yet. And as we head throughout this week, the other thing we have to worry about is the potential to see some rain as we head towards this weekend. But up until then, things will be awfully dry. And that's because we're seeing a lot of our upper level flow is very zonal, meaning we're not seeing a whole lot of that wave pattern. The lines are pretty straight across, meaning we won't be seeing any changes in that weather. But as we head throughout this weekend, you're going to notice a big trough is going to start to dig across the U.S. and that will be bringing the potential for some rain and some cooler temperatures as we head throughout this weekend. And comparing our two different models, our American model shows more widespread rain than our European model shows at 7 a.m. as we head into Saturday. So they're starting to agree more on that timing, but just exactly how much rain we might get haven't still quite caught on together. So we'll still need to be watching it over this week to help get a better picture. But in terms of our high temperatures, still sticking within those mid to upper 70s throughout this week. But as we head into early next week, might even be in those mid 50s. So definitely a nice, sharp, cold snap, and especially our low temperatures will also reflect that. The lows will be a little bit higher on Saturday and Sunday with some of that added moisture. But even as we head into Tuesday, that low might even be in those 20s. So you might have to start thinking about maybe dripping those faucets to help keep them from freezing as well. But that is next week's problem. This week is still going to be great. You'll want to get out and enjoy it. Again, temperatures being in those mid to upper 70s. And as we head into this weekend, there's a possibility to see some rain here and there. And then once we head into next week, things get a little bit cooler. And so you might need that winter coat.
Hauck got the opportunity to go and see what weather forecasters at Robins Air Force Base do. Let's check in with him now. Hey, Noah.
Hey Amanda, that is right. I spoke with them and they told me their job is more than just sitting behind a computer and looking at that weather. So let's find out what else they told me. Meteorologist Noah Hauck, and every single evening I'm going to be in my fancy suit presenting you the weather on that green screen wall. But that's just one way that we can portray weather. There's also a way here at Robins Air Force Base for our brothers and sisters in uniform. So let's find out how they do it.
It is kind of a team effort in weather that us, the news, and the National Weather Service are all on the same page.
Meet Airman Hubbard and Sergeant Evans, two weather forecasters here at Robins Air Force Base. I wanted to know what their day in the life looked like.
We come in, we open up, we talk with tower and airfield management to make sure everything is going smoothly, and then I start my daily checklist. My Met watch is pretty much seeing what's going on in the atmosphere, figuring out what's going on weather-wise, and what I need to forecast for the next 30 hours for our TAF.
Weather forecasters and broadcast meteorologists have some things in common, like the tools we use to forecast.
In satellite imagery and getting our upper air model data to get an idea of what's to come or what could be as far as our forecasting opportunities.
Then there are other things we don't have in common, like our daily goals.
But the biggest thing is forecasting for pilots and like mission management and everything like that. So that's kind of a misconception about what weather does, but that is one of the biggest parts of our job.
Sergeant Evans told me their training is a little different compared to a traditional 4-year degree.
You do 9 months down in Mississippi learning basic meteorology and then like how to write tasks, how to look at synoptic patterns, cold fronts, warm fronts, the whole 9 yards. Then you get to your base and you'll go through another long training program of usually about 6 months. So
he tells me that's only part of the journey.
Really, you have to get the reps in, experience, seeing the weather patterns, seeing how it all connects and plays out.
Sergeant Evans also shared with me one of the ways the forecasters interact with Middle Georgians.
And then you have things like schools, whether they're going to close or not during the snow, and then whether the installation commander is going to close, and what does that look like for people who may need to stay home now because there's no school and their kids will be home.
He tells me his job is more than just a forecast.
It's very satisfying to identify some severe weather pattern or some significantly impacting, let's say turbulence, and then helping a pilot, know that's there and avoid it. And it can be super gratifying because you're having a direct impact on the safety of people.
Although our daily goals might be different, the overall goal between weather forecasters here at Robins Air Force Base and broadcast meteorologists is going to be the same, keeping people safe and informed.